In today's video, we'll explain why the New Orleans Pelicans are absolutely terrifying. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Coach Willie Green's Pelicans are currently a top-tier team in not only the Western Conference, but the entire league. And honestly, it's not that surprising. While we didn't think they would be this good, they have a great roster and they're really well coached. But why exactly are they so good? Well, to answer that question, we first need to take a deep dive into their team to get a better understanding. So first, let's talk about their three-point shooting. The Pelicans are currently ranked 10th in three-point shooting, but they're ranked 27th in three-point attempts per game, shooting just 30 threes per game. So they don't shoot many threes, but when they do, they're very efficient. And one of the reasons they're efficient is because of Brandon Ingram, who's shooting an amazing 46% from 3 on 4 attempts per game. This is a great thing to see if you're a Pelicans fan, because he's normally just an above-average shooter. Sure, it's early, and his numbers could drop, but nonetheless, his stroke appears to be upgraded from the past 2 seasons. He's shooting 46% on catch-and-shoot threes on 3 attempts per game. While his numbers from past seasons say that he's just an above-average shooter, he still has great form and a soft touch. But the player who might just be the best shooter on the roster is the second-year forward Trey Murphy. He's shooting 41% from 3 on 6 attempts per game. And last season, his rookie year, he shot 38% on 3 attempts per game. So he entered the league already being a pretty good shooter, but this season, he's on fire. He stands at about 6'8" to 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. Combine that with his quick release, and you've got a three-point shooting machine. Not only is he a really good overall shooter, but he's ranked 14th in the entire NBA in catch-and-shoot three-point shooting percentage. Murphy shoots about 5.5 catch-and-shoot threes per game while making 40% of them. That percentage is higher than players like Jaylen Brown, Karl Anthony Towns, Joe Harris, Jason Tatum, and even Steph Curry. And like we mentioned, his tall, lanky frame gives him the advantage to shoot over other players. But one thing that probably goes unnoticed if you're not paying really close attention is how he is rarely off balance, and he keeps his body and feet pointed towards the rim no matter what. This stiff and straightforward shooting motion is what makes him extremely accurate from long range. He's also improved drastically as an off-ball mover, and he's mobile enough to run around screens effectively. And for his ferocious teammate, Jose Alvarado, better known as GTA, he's shooting 39% from 3 on 4 attempts per game. This is even more amazing than Ingram's hot start, because last season, Alvarado was statistically one of the worst shooters in the league, shooting 29% on 2 attempts per game. In our opinion, his shot has risen significantly, and he doesn't hesitate before shooting as much as he did last season. We think this is because of one thing: hard work and many hours in the gym. Now, can he stay around 38 to 39% for an entire season? Only time will tell, but we honestly believe he can shoot 35 to 36%, which is a plus in his case. He's even shooting 41% on catch-and-shoot threes on 3.5 attempts, which is normal because that's where he thrives. Pelicans guard Devonte Graham is another player who's unusually hot from deep, shooting 38% on 4 attempts per game. And we say unusually only because he shot 34% last season. For their 6'11", 265-pound center, he's shooting 39% from 3 on 1.6 attempts per game. And while he definitely isn't a high-volume shooter, he is one of the last centers you want to leave open from behind the arc. But while those are all the main reasons they're a top 10 shooting team in the league, they could be even better if CJ McCollum wasn't shooting 32% from 3, and Herb Jones wasn't shooting 28%. But we can expect those numbers to slowly rise over time. And when they do, watch out. One player to watch from the 3 is their rookie Dyson Daniels. He's currently shooting 37% from 3 on 1.5 attempts per game. And we say he's a player to watch because he came into the NBA with a reputation as being a bad shooter. So if he can show signs of being a solid shooting threat, it'll not only be good for the Pelicans, but for his career in the NBA as well. But now let's take a look at the other part of their success: playmaking. The Pelicans are ranked 9th in assists per game, which is very important for teams with championship aspirations. They are in a high turnover-riddled team, which is also very important. They're ranked 18th in turnovers, which further emphasizes how good of a ball-moving team they are. CJ McCollum is currently leading the charge when it comes to this department, leading the team in assists with 6 per game. He's always been a solid playmaking 2-guard and has averaged over 4 assists for about 5 seasons now. He is the clear primary decision maker. He's number 1 on the team in touches, while also being being #1 on the team in both secondary assist and potential assist. He really is just such an unselfish player. And although he can put the ball in the basket at a high level, he's really a pass-first type of player and plays with little to no ego. CJ also has underrated court vision, and he shows it in every scenario. Half court, full court, or in transition, he's always finding his open teammates. But speaking of underrated, let's now focus on Brandon Ingram's playmaking ability. He's averaging 4.7 assists per game right now, and last season he averaged 5.6 assists. So we really mean it when we say he's an underrated passer. What makes him such a solid passer is his unselfishness. He has great trust and chemistry with his teammates, so he doesn't ever really see the need to force tough shots all game. If he's being defended closely, he'll just swing the ball out to one of his scorers or playmakers and move out of the way. But don't get us wrong, he's a talented scorer as well. It's not just all about his willingness to move the ball around. He's a very accurate passer, especially in transition and in the half court when he sees a slashing cutter. His game has matured a lot, and he's reading defenses better now than ever, which is a great quality to see from your young star. But of course, there is another player on the roster averaging 4 assists, and his name is none other than Zion Williamson. We know what we're about to say here is sounding a little repetitive now, but he's just an unselfish player. And that's the common theme throughout this entire Pelicans roster, and it's one of the reasons they're playing so well. Zion's a good passer, and he has been since he first stepped into the league, but now he's turning things up a notch in this department. He's someone who obviously demands a lot of attention in the paint, and when double teams come his way, he's aware and skilled enough to find his teammates. Not only can he operate as a solid playmaker in the post, but there are times when he runs the point guard spots, and it actually works pretty well more often than not. But now let's focus in on their scoring, where they're ranked 5th in the NBA in points per game, starting with Zion Williamson. He's averaging 24 points on 59% shooting from the field, and he's ranked 2nd in the NBA in shots less than 5 feet from the basket, shooting an incredible 66% on 12 attempts per game. So yeah, he's literally one of the most unstoppable paint scorers in the game right now. But when you think about it, he weighs over 280 pounds with a 45-inch vertical. So this is exactly what he should be doing. But nonetheless, it is still jaw-dropping. I don't think we've ever seen someone his size be so nimble and acrobatic while in the air. It's unbelievable, and if we're being honest, it's almost unfair to whichever unlucky defender has to guard him one-on-one in no man's land. Zion's footwork and ability to stay on balance at his size is remarkable, and there probably isn't a more unstoppable driver and finisher in the league outside of Giannis, of course. But now on to Brandon Ingram, who's averaging 20 points on 47% shooting from the field. Ingram is truly one of the smoothest scorers in the game, and that's why he's ranked 4th in the NBA in shots from 10 to 14 feet. That means he's ranked higher than DeMar DeRozan, Devin Booker, Luka, and Kyrie Irving. In the official mid-range area, about 15 to 19 feet out from the basket, Brandon Ingram is ranked 8th in the NBA. So with him shooting great from 3 and phenomenal in the mid-range, he is without a doubt one of the most elite scorers in the NBA right now. As for CJ McCollum, he's averaging 17 points on 39% from the field. This is no surprise. We all know CJ can get buckets, and 17 points is actually his lowest scoring year since 2014. That right there lets you know how good of a scorer he's been in the NBA. But given he has an increase in his playmaking role, and he has to share the ball with 2 other all-star players, 17 points is more than fine. With Devontae Graham, Trey Murphy, Larry Nance Jr., and Herb Jones chipping in nicely, it's no wonder why they're such a great scoring team right now. And as a side note, we know we haven't really mentioned Herbert Jones much in this video, but for the next part of the video, he will be the main focal point: defense. The Pelicans are currently the 5th ranked defense in the NBA, and that's in large part to Herbert Jones. Jones has continued to cause havoc on the defensive end, using his long 7-foot wingspan to alter shots on a consistent basis. Out on the perimeter, he's one of the best. He has elite quickness and anticipation, which allows him to stay in front of any perimeter offensive player, and we do mean any. He can be an effective defender at 3 positions and even sometimes with forwards. He's just one of those defenders that you cannot make mistakes around. If you get loose with the ball, he's gonna take it from you. And if you decide to take your sweet time getting your shot off, he's just gonna block that shot into the 3rd row. An elite, versatile defender is a luxury to have and is a necessity for great teams. The Celtics have Marcus Smart, the Suns have Mikal Bridges, the Grizzlies have Dillon Brooks and Jackson Jr., the Bucks have Holiday, the Warriors have Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green, and now the Pelicans have Herbert Jones. And of course, Jose Alvarado is one of the most irritating defenders in the NBA. His pest-like defense is only fun if you're on his team. Otherwise, it's annoying and can throw you off your game, which is the entire point. He's in the same category as Patrick Beverley when it comes to that aspect. Then there's Zion Williamson, and his defense has been the best it's been in his entire career so far. That was honestly his only glaring weakness, and now that he's staying relatively healthy and playing better defense, he's going to be entering superstardom. Najee Marshall and Dyson Daniels are both good defenders as well. They bring high energy and physicality on this end of the floor, and they aren't afraid of anybody. Plus, Daniels has the potential to be an elite defender very soon, and if he does, Pelicans' future will get even brighter.